Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. I am your host, founder of Voices for Voices, Justin Allen Hayes. Thank you so much for joining us on this and every one of our 285 plus episodes in studio, out of studio. We can't do this without you. Can't do it without your love and support, especially in tumultuous times of uncertainty in the world, uh, tough areas, tough topics to talk about. And it's you, our viewers, our listeners, not only here in the United States, but across the world that have have this interest and uh, we're experiencing increase in support, viewership, listenership, and and so here we are. Uh, Again, over 285 episodes with a goal of hitting 300 by the end of calendar year 2025. And instead of just hitting that number, we're going to be surpassing it sooner than expected. And that's the beauty of being able to film these episodes out of the studio. We're able to uh, cover more current events, more timely, uh, versus when we're in studio. Beautiful setting, beautiful setup. But the way TV production works, uh, we have to film ahead, and sometimes that can uh, just make it a little bit tougher to stay on top of uh, situations and events that uh, pop up as they seem to do from time to time. And if we have these horrific floods in Kerrville, Texas, recently, and just heartbreaking to see and hear and watch coverage about those. Uh, and while we're not able to do a whole lot, uh, we're able to talk about it and talk about uh, the trauma that comes from a an event like that of flooding, uh, people missing that we know that we love, uh, people that maybe have been found unresponsive, and our hearts go out to every single person from that area, every single first responder, every single anybody who has stepped into that, uh, just a terrible situation. And natural disasters, they happen time to time. It seems like maybe the occurrence level has been increasing. Uh, Again, that's just an observation. I don't have any numbers to support that. It just seems that these natural disasters, when they happen, they're just very, very difficult situations. So when we talk about that type of a situation, hard on the community, hard on the area, hard on first responders, hard on anybody. You live there, know somebody that lives there, uh, probably been impacted one way or another. And so again, our hearts go out to each and every person that is involved with that situation. This episode, what we wanted to do is make it more, uh, say, more positive. You know, we spend a lot of our time talking about, being told, conversations about what we can do better, how we can meet our goals, how we can exceed them. And we spend less time talking about the positive, the accomplishments that we make, the goals that we meet and exceed, not just the goals that we can improve on. Because we know we're not perfect, nobody's perfect. And it's important, just as a human being, that as we experience negativity, bad experiences, personal life, professional life, the ups and the downs, you know, what sells are those clicks and those sensational topics and words. Uh, you know, 15, 20, 25 years ago, we we weren't as say we weren't as inundated, and maybe if we were, we just didn't know it, of kind of that sensationalistic journalism of, again, the shock value. And we think about positive stories. There's not as many, it seems, of the positive stories as there are of the shock and awe of negative and um, outrageous. I'll give an example. So just recently there was a Coldplay concert, and apparently through one of the songs or during one of the songs there was a kiss cam. You know, it goes around the arenas or the stadiums, wherever the event's being held. And so this camera, you know, would focus in on a couple people, and then people would, you know, say, "Hey, you know, kiss, kiss," um, and then we go on to the next two people that the camera operator uh, felt should be next. And before I get into this, I first and foremost want to say I do not condone any of the activity that happened by the two individuals that I'm going to be referencing. So by me talking about this doesn't condone it, make it okay, make it right, make it any better. Uh, it's just to prove a point of it's a sensational shock type of a story, and everywhere you turn, it seems social media wise, specifically, is what I've noticed. Uh, so many people are posting about it. And so this kiss cam uh, landed on two people, and there was a man and a woman, and the man had his arms around the woman, like they were embracing. And once the camera focused in on them and they saw their picture up on the camera or on the video screen, immediately they both kind of acted like nothing was happening. Uh, and so it turns out, at least from what I can tell, is the guy involved is married. I don't know children. I don't know what that status is. But what I've been able to, again, in our good faith research, before we talk about these things, these topics, appears that this gentleman is married, and it appears that the girl may also have may be married as well. And so, of course, with this story and the picture, and the videos of, once the camera uh, focuses on them, and then they just act like, they didn't want to be seen together. Uh, and and so, of course, there's been this huge fallout that's been going on. Uh, Again, there's a lot of different reports out there. Uh, but the reason I'm bringing it up is it's a shock value story, and for whatever reason, it's drawing huge amount of interest. And we juxtapose that. Again, we're not condoning that activity at all, not in the least. But we juxtapose that with a news story about an individuals who are helping people. If I mentioned Kerrville, Texas, and there's just just so heartbreaking. The floods, and people have lost their lives, and people still missing, and yet there's first responders and just regular people that are pitching in and helping, whether they're able to find and recover and save somebody or not. There's a lot of people that are doing a lot of good in uh, down south in Texas, and I don't feel that same level of coverage from a media perspective, social media perspective. Again, I could be completely wrong. I don't think I am. I could be, but from what I've been able to ascertain from social media and other media outlets, that this story about this Coldplay concert and this alleged affair between this CEO of this organization, who's allegedly apparently married, uh, with this girl, this lady, um, and potentially maybe. excuse me, married herself in some type of a long-term relationship. And so I look at both of those things. There's one that we would think that, wow, we would want to cover a human interest story where people are doing good. And so I would think covering that and those first responders and just those human beings that are going out of their way to help in any way, shape, or form. I would think that would be more widespreadly covered in our media, not some alleged affair between a couple that were shown on a kiss cam video screen at a Coldplay concert. And I'm just saying Coldplay because that's that's the name of the band uh, that was holding the concert the night where this activity was uh, was caught on tape and is being talked about by so many. And so I just want to take some time to say thank you to all those first responders down in Texas and elsewhere, all those humans, first responder or not, who are helping people each and every day that don't get the press coverage that other stories get. And so thank you to everyone that's doing good in this world, not just here in the United States, but across the globe, across the world. There's a lot of awesome people, a lot of awesome organizations, a lot of just awesome human beings that are stepping up and not always just waiting for, the next natural disaster to happen, that are doing positive things day in and day out as they're able to, whether that's making a donation or whether that's volunteering time at a shelter, at a warming shelter during winter time, and helping people who, we're not judging here, people that are living on the streets for one reason or another. When the temperature gets to be really low, there's warming centers that open up. There's people day in and day out over the course of, that period of time when uh, that weather is brutal cold, uh, that are doing great things, that are preparing meals, they're serving them, they're cleaning up after, they're getting ready for the next day and the next evening. Not glamorous work, not glamorous at all, but that's helping our fellow human beings, because we never know when, if we'll be in that type of a position where we may need help. Because no matter how little or how big, we all need help from time to time. And that's what the big part of Voices for Voices And my part with the organization of starting it and continuing it on is there's times I need help. There's times I need to talk to somebody. And those times aren't glamorized. They're not, they don't make the news. They don't have, the national or international media, showing up to do a half hour story on something we did and we did something well or we're helping, where we're just trying to help our fellow human beings versus, the story at this Coldplay concert. And so that's why, again, for everybody out there watching, listening, give us a big thumbs up, like, share, follow, subscribe, Voices for Voices, TV show and podcast, wherever you consume uh, your content, your podcast. You have iHeart, we're on iHeart. You have Odyssey, we're on Odyssey. You have Spotify, we're on Spotify. You have YouTube, we're on YouTube. You have Rumble, you get the idea. And we can all we can all be a light for others. We may not get, again, might not get it, the kudos, the credit, the awards, but it's stories like that. It's individuals like you who are doing good work. Again, but for anybody that's new to Voices for Voices, take kind of the first 25, 30 years, whatever, of my life. It was all about titles, it was all about money, it was all about accolades, things that Justin could get. And that's me, for in case anybody's that knew that it's all about what I could get recognized for. It was about me, me, me. And now those days are still there, but in proportion to, again, those earlier years, there's a much greater proportion of me being more cognizant, more aware of helping and wanting to help and wanting to be a light. And that can mean tackling tough subject matter. That can be talking about things that aren't glamorous, that a lot of people turn away from. They don't want to hear about it. They don't want to listen. They want to watch. But I truly believe that so many people need help in this world. And there, as with just a lot of things, there's the easy road and then there's the hard road. The easy road would be, what thing or things can I do to help in the quickest fashion? And then there's things like talking about individuals' experience and experiences with some very, very tough, very traumatic experiences. Uh, and then people start judging and say, oh, well, you're talking about this and you need to make better judgments. You need to make yeah, better judgments on what you do a show on or what you spend your time on. And I like to think that, and what I'm finding is there's people across that spectrum, people that it's easy to help, and then people that it's harder to help. It's easy to donate a gift card or donate food on the continuum. It's much harder to talk about a person or persons who have been through awful situations, awful events, because those stories, those events are so raw. And we may think, well, I don't want to I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to cover that. I don't want to give somebody a platform to do that. I just want to do the easy thing all the time. And as you know, or if you don't know, I tend to go in the harder, tougher areas where not a lot of people, a lot of organizations want to go. And there's a lot of great people, a lot of great organizations out there. But just like anything, there's good organizations, good people, and people on the other side of that spectrum where people want to get that easy credit or they don't want to get in the trenches and research and talk to somebody and listen to their horrific story and things that they had to encounter and go through. Again, it's easy to grab a gift card and give a donation. That's great. We need people to do that. We do. But when we look at what something's easy and hard, because we choose to cover some of the hard topics, the hard areas, I don't need an award. I don't need again, 20 years ago, I would have needed a pat on the back and an attaboy or attagirl. Way to go. Now, I'd much rather just help somebody, regardless if it's an easy way or the hard way. Because my time's short on Earth, all of our time is short on earth. And I don't want to think at the end of my time that, well, I could have tried. I don't know if I would have succeeded, but I could at least tried some of these harder topics, these harder areas. I already had so much regret for, those first 30 years or so of my life. And we'll continue to have that from time to time, things that, oh, I wish I would have did that. Or if I only was thinking like this, well, hindsight's always 2020. We're always able to, they call it the Monday morning quarterbacking after ball games over the weekend. It's always easy to look back at a game and say, oh, well, the coach or the manager, they should have did this, but they didn't. So the team lost. The same thing with the, it's easy to say, oh, well, I wish I would have did this. I wish I would have at least tried it. Not for me, but for the people who are in these, again, just terrible, inhumane conditions, being taken advantage of, being abused. Whether you want to think about it or not, whether I want to think about it or not, there's people at this very moment who are being abused, that are being taken advantage of. And so we can either make the choice of seeing what we can do to help those people, and we can invite, we can have guests on our show, or we can talk about the topics ourselves to hopefully inspire another person to step out. And so doing good doesn't always have to be about the money. Doesn't always have to be about, well, I have 5 goals for this year and I met all of them. And so I'm going to get this big raise or this big bonus and a raise. And all those things are good. We look at things under Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and food, water, clothing, shelter, that really lays out the foundation, that we can't look at security in other areas until we have those more basic areas covered. And there's people this very moment who don't have those covered. We can have a spirited discussion on whether the person deserves to be where they're at or not. But I'd rather not spend my time arguing and, nitpicking about that. Why don't we just help our fellow humans to the best that we can? We might not be in a position to help. We might not be in a position to help financially, but maybe we can help serve dinner once a month or once a year to those less fortunate. And yeah, all our time is valuable, but it would just be your time. wouldn't be asking for some donation, some huge amount of money. We would just donate our time and that would be something that we could do to help. And I'd like to think that no matter how we help, whether it's by donations, by financial means, or by our time and our talents, God looks at all of that as helping our fellow human. So sometimes I hear people talk about so many people, they're asking for money and, I can't, or I don't know, whatever that feedback is. Just think if those that can and those that could help would donate one afternoon, one meal, serving a year, that'd be one less meal that potentially multiple people would have to go hungry. And again, we can, have a spirited discussion on what the person did or didn't do, why they're in that position. But I can guarantee you, if somehow, some way you end up in that position and you need a little bit of help, you're going to be very thankful for anybody that would put their time, talents, and treasure towards serving you or serving me a meal. Again, that's not the glamorous thing. It's not the shock value. It's not going to get the press. It's going to be the couple having an affair at a Coldplay concert, and that story is going to get the press. And so I would just challenge each and every one of you. I challenge myself, everybody that's part of Voices for Voices, to just look for an opportunity once a year to get started and do something that's different than what if you work for a company or an organization, try to do something that's not what is the pet project of the CEO at that organization. Because it's that CEO that's they're going to get the credit. You can be sure of that while that's not a glamorous thing to help people, you better bet though, if there's a CEO, head of an organization, and they're able to contact the media much easier than you and I are, they're going to be doing it for the credit. But when you do things that aren't for the organization, you can do things for the organization. I'm not saying not to do those, I'm saying quite the opposite. I'm saying you can do those for that organization, but then you can also think of how can I do something that means more for me, that makes me feel better, not just, well, I got a couple hours off of work or a few hours off of work to go work on this project. And then the hours that I spent gets thrown in with all the other employees. And then the CEO stands in front of the cameras and they're getting that credit. But when you and I just do the humane thing, we're not we're not going to get that type of credit. So that's why it has to be in here, it has to be in your heart to want to help. And I don't like to make a lot of guarantees. So I'm not going to guarantee. I will just say this. If you haven't already, the first time you help somebody in even just the slightest way, that you serve lunch on a holiday weekend and you see the looks and looks of, thank you for this food. Thank you for these people who are choosing to take even just an hour or two out of their day to help load my plate with food and nutrients and vitamins and minerals. Because I don't know about you, but if I'm ever in that position where I need a meal or I need a little bit of help, I'm going to be looking up to those individuals and say, thank you, thank you, thank you for donating your time, talents, your treasures to help me have a warm meal. And so maybe the news cameras don't uh, and follow you or and maybe it is the CEO that gets all that credit, but there's so many other things, so many other ways to donate our time. Again, just once a year. Maybe it's an hour or two a year on one day, and that just becomes your thing. And then when you have a family, you want to show your loved ones the thank and the value of helping their fellow human being who's down on their luck at the time being. Because again, if I'm down on my luck for the time being, I am going to be so grateful, so thankful for the food, the nutrition. If I, if it's a warming center for the night, to be able to warm up, have somebody maybe donate a pair of boots or a new hat or a new sweatshirt to keep me warm. It gives you a whole new perspective on life when we look at it when we look at things from this perspective. So let's not dwell on what we're not doing well, what we're not doing good, what somebody tells us we could do better. There's always going to be those things. Instead, why don't we focus our time, talent, treasure, our energy, and celebrate? Doesn't mean you have to go get, you know, drink to excess or to do drugs or just just do something that helps you in that self-care area. It's like, wow, I'm glad I did that. Like I made a difference. I don't need CBS and NBC or TMZ or whoever to come cover me in that story. I need to just be able to look in the mirror and the field in my heart that what I did was doing the very thing that I would hope that if I was ever in that position and I needed the help, that there'd be somebody across the way who would be reaching out to help serve my plate, to fill my drink, to fill my water or juice. So let's be grateful. Let's be thankful. Let's celebrate being alive. I've said it before, I'll say it again. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. We're not guaranteed the next minute, the next second, the next hour, the next day, the next month, week, year. So shouldn't we do things to make us feel good and that are healthy? Even if it's just that 1 hour a year or maybe 2 hours on one day. You got the whole rest of the year to do what you want to do and think about and all those things. And I can tell you from my experience again, I'm not going to guarantee it, but from my experience, I don't, and I'm getting goosebumps and chills. Now, I can't tell you what what thing or things I did when I first realized that it feels really good to help somebody and not to have to get something in return. That I don't need that news story. I don't need that award. It's just my heart being warmed because it may be one less person that has to think and worry about where they're getting their next meal from, or that they're not going to have to continue to wear boots that have holes in them, that they're going to be more protected from the elements. So let's help our fellow human. Because again, when the tables turn, and more often than not, it seems like it does turn in some way. somehow. Are you going to hope that somebody's on the other side of that table or the other side of that serving station to serve you? I know I am. So why should I wait until then to immerse myself? Why should I wait until then to think about that situation? Why don't I do what I can do now where I have two legs, I'm able to walk, that I'm able to drive. Because there's going to be a time where our time's going to come to an end on Earth. And there's going to come a time that if we drive, that we may not be fit to drive. We might not pass our, the eyesight test for getting our driver's license renewed. So I think the world is in good hands with us. And so as I try, Voices for Voices tries to be a light for others, I hope and pray that you also are a light for others and you want to be that light for others. That you don't need the accolades, you don't need the awards, that you can just be yourself. I can be myself, and together we can help our fellow human being who just need a little bit of help.